It's the Abba podcast. Let's go.
And the next guest on the podcast, we're with another Australian boxing fighter, Joel Camilleri. How we going, my brother?
Good, brother. Just jumped in the bed, had a nice shower, and that's going to have a bit of a chat with you and go to bed, man.
Hey, tell me, how was training? How's camp? How's the new coach? You know, he's a bit of an inspiration.
Yeah, no, really good, man. I've been with Dundee Kim since last year. We've had 2 fights together, but he's motivating, man. He's preparing for a fight himself right now for a charity, so he's always pushing me to do better.
Hey, legend, man. So tell us, how'd that come about and how important has he been in your last 2 fights have been wins? How has he been with you and looking forward to how you guys going towards the world title?
It's really good, man. He's really positive. I'm the kind of guy who likes to be around a positive environment. So Dundee Kim's always setting himself goals. He sets me goals, and when I'm not training hard, he really sticks to me a bit, man. Make sure I'm on target. So it's been great, man. My whole team's great. Dundee Kim, Faris Chevalier. I got Frankie Pianto, and then my manager Peter Maniata. So it's all going well, man.
So yeah, it's going well, mate. Look, you're in the news all the time. So you've got Australian boxings all over the place these days, and everyone's tip of the tongue, Joel Camilleri. You're the only guy who's got insight on both camps, with the Zarafa and the Zoo camp. How'd that come about?
Yeah. Well, I trained with Sam LeBrun, as Travis trainer for 6.5 years, man. Me and him are still good friends. He was a second dad to me for 6.5 years, and still very close with Blake Caparello from the camp. And I fought Tim Zoo, and after that, we've became good friends. Me and his manager, Glenn Jennings, are very close too, and I've spent 3 training camps with him.
So how is that? Like, what have you learnt with that? And what, when you share the ring with someone, there's a different appreciation that fighters have in between themselves. Talk to us about that. What happened there? And then it's obviously continued.
I don't know. Like, when I fought Tim Zoo, everyone's saying, they weren't sure how good he was. But when I fought him, I realized how good he was. I tried everything, and he had an answer for everything. So after that, I showed my respect. And, just after that, when you fight against somebody, you earn a respect. And I just saw how good he was. And my good friend Khalil is a part of the Zoo Academy. And he always told me about this kid, Tim. And I always said, I'm going to fight him one day. And that was in Vegas in 2018. A year later, I was fighting him. So same kind of circle, man. And once I fought him, I was up in Sydney quite a bit for Khalil. And me and Tim became good mates too.
Hey, legend, man. So that respect is built, You did take Tim to the decision. A lot of people haven't done that. You're one of 2 that has pushed him there. And there's been a lot of names like, Jeff Horn and ex-world championship fighters that didn't do what you did.
I think, it's you always want to win a fight, but at the same time, I'm just the kind of person that really never gives up, man. Tim hit me with some good shots, and in my head, towards the end, I knew I wasn't winning on the scorecards. I gave my all, and but one thing in my head was, I'm not going down today. I'm not going down tonight, and I went to the final bell, and people credit me for that. I would have loved the win, but I lost to a world champion fighter, a future world champ.
So yeah, man. So talk to us about that fighter's mentality. A lot of people want to go out on their shield, like you just said. Talk to us how viable, or is the easy way out always an option for a fighter? And if so, talk to us about the struggles of that, because not a lot of people understand that insight.
Well, one thing with me is you got to be honest with yourself and with everyone else as well. Every fighter wants to be that real tough guy that fears nothing. They say they fear nothing. Everyone's got fears, man. I've always been that person who hates to show emotion. I get hit with a cricket bat by accident. I'd walk into a pole as a 6-year-old, and I'd never cry. I always never showed emotion. But I've learned that there's 2 sides to your mind. There's one side that's always going to doubt you. It's always going to tell you, you're going to lose, or during the fight, just go down. Just give up. And then the other side, my other fighter kind of mind says, mate, get through this fight. You're going to win. Keep going, fight through it, And I've just learned that you're always going to have doubts, but that's just expected. The other side of your brains and your mind's always there to push through, and that's what I've got. I've got a real fighter's mind and heart that you're either born with or you're not,
It's crazy, man, because we had Sam RC on not too long ago, and he basically was speaking of the struggles of just getting into the ring, and the pressure and the amount of, the preparation, and you commit your life for a certain amount of time. and it's all or nothing practically, and it's a very lonely sport. So talk to us about how you got into boxing, because it isn't the easiest of sports, and it seems like you wear your heart on your sleeve and you go in there and put it all out there.
Yeah, I've told this story a few times. I played team sports growing up, but I always wanted to I played goalkeeping in soccer, indoor and outdoor, and I always wanted to be the standout. Always wanted to, when we'd win a game, I'd always want to be, I'm the one who saved all the goals. And then I was always a tough kid in school, could take punches. We used to always, like, everyone used to lay into me, and I've never been dropped. And I used to just be like, I'd love that kind of title of the guy who can take punches. And we started fighting in the garage. Different schools come to my house, we'd fight. I get bashed, but never go down. And then one day my mate turned to me and said, mate, come to my gym. I'm like, what gym? And there's a Muay Thai gym. So I started doing Muay Thai for a year and a half and went to a boxing gym. A friend of mine, his name's Tim as well, he beat me up in sparring. And after that day, I'm like, man, I want to learn to box.
So talk to us about that then. So you decided you want to get into the gym, right? And a lot of the people, once they start this endeavor, they get into the boxing gym. It's not easy. Your ego's tested. There's a lot of times where you start to question yourself. How do you overcome that and then know that this is something you want to commit to full time?
Well, along the way, doing Muay Thai at a place called Team Ultimate in Sunshine, west of Melbourne, I had many mates coming with me. I want to start kickboxing too. And they all would leave. But I'd always return. A trainer would look at me, Johnny Sheeter, and be like, he'd always just notice me. And I'd be like, I'm going to always return. And then going to the boxing gym, I remember that first spar getting beaten up. And my first ever boxing trainer, Bo Gehring, he came up to me and goes, hey, mate, I thought you said you could fight. And I remember that when he said that to me, I looked at him like, no one questions my fighting ability, So I come back. And my aim was to get as good as Tim and beat up Tim, you know what I mean? And we became good mates, and I kept sparring him. And that mentality, I don't fail at nothing. If I put my mind to something, I don't believe in failing. So I had to prove everyone wrong that I was going to be a champion. And I've been told to give up, hang up hang up my gloves a few times, but I want to keep proving people wrong, keep proving people that I'm much better than they think I am.
Mate, you're ranked number 5 in the country. You've continued to do so, and your chin still stands the test of time. You still haven't been dropped yet. So, I mean, I don't know what the people are thinking or saying. This is a naysayers, bro.
Yeah, you know what? Some people are looking out for you. Like, for example, like your parents and that, like, they always say they want you to be healthy. They hate seeing you get hit. And, is there any other options you can do apart from boxing? It's a dangerous sport. And I appreciate that. I don't say it in a bad way. Some people might wanted me to retire because they want me to, finish my career healthy. And I've got a brain. I was a school teacher by trade as well. So, but my mind just tells me that I know I'm going to keep going forward. Once I find the point where I feel as though I'm taking too much punishment, I can't get any better, people are better than me and I'm never going to get there, that's when I just call it quits, man.
So what contingencies do you then have in place to make sure that you don't go that one more? Because we had Chock on, and, God bless Chock and what he's done. He saved Australian boxing. However, he kept following the money and he kept going a bit ahead of his time there.
Well, with Chock, he invested quite well, I heard, but also his money was coming from boxing. See, me right now, I've got an app I'm releasing with my friend Shane Pace. I'm opening Knockout Kebabs, a food truck. So what I'm doing, I'm using my money that I'm making from my sponsors and my boxing to invest in other endeavors. So then when my career is over and it's time to hang them up, I've got things to fall back on. I don't need boxing to make money.
Yeah, and 100%. But you got people in there that are going to pull you together. A lot of boxers have a corner that'll throw the towel in, like Jeff Fennick, for example. He makes sure that his fighter doesn't have to take unnecessary damage. What contingency is that way? Do you have people that are going to pull you aside and say, Joel, look, we're going to have a chat? If that chat ever has to come in the future, we're talking.
100%, man. End of the day, I got, my trainers, Dundee Kim, Ferris Chevalier, and the Frankie Pianto are my best mates. And so is Peter Maniaz, my manager. They'll tell me. Oh, no, my parents will watch. My parents will speak to my trainer and my manager, and they'll let me know straight away, man. They know I've got a life after boxing. So I'm confident in them to, give me the realization that I've got to give up when the time comes.
100%, bro. And you said you're a teacher, so talk to us about that. How'd that come by trade, and why did you get into that field?
I loved, I was very smart in school, man. I was pretty smart. I acted dumb, but I was smart. And my dad was always and my parents were about education. So I always wanted to give up my uni degree. I did a Bachelor of Applied Science in PE and Psychology and did my Bachelor of Education. But my dad always said to me, and mum always said to me as well, that finish your degree, make sure you have something to fall back on. So I just made sure I taught casually as a substitute teacher. I used to work 2-3 days a week, 4 days a week, have a month off, and it served its purpose, man. I love teaching.
But imagine having a substitute teacher. We all had that substitute teacher. But you walk in the room and it's like, oh, Lord, what can we do here? Can't do nothing.
I worked in Melbourne's West, so a lot of it's like Sydney, you know, a lot of different nationalities, cultures, and that, and real troubled kids. But I got along with them really well. I used to rock up with black eyes and, you know, busted up and that. They used to have a laugh, and they knew I was a boxer from the area. So I loved it, man. We got along really well, and they used to do a lot of work for me too.
100%. Look, when it's a multicultural area or you're going with a lot of ethnic people, we know everything about everyone. So they're going to figure out you're a boxer, and they're going to know the Q's and P's and whatever.
Most of the troubled kids were my mates, like nephews or nieces or children. So like, or they're like all the younger cousins. So I'd mention my mates' names, and you'd see them straight away. They'd shut up.
100%. But that's what happens when you know someone who knows someone who knows someone, and something happens like that, you know. Yeah, talking about knowing someone, you're pretty close with one of our brothers, Nader Hamdan, Australian legend. Yeah. Talk to us about Nads and the relationship you have there.
I didn't know how it came along. I think just commenting on a few posts with him and Bob Mirovich for a laugh and that. Then when I went to Sydney, I was spending a lot of time with my mate Khalil, and then me and Nader were speaking. I might have messaged him one day saying, mate, it'd be great to meet you and catch up. And he goes, all right, mate, I'll see you tomorrow morning at Brighton, Los Angeles at 5 a.m. I go, brother, I don't wake up that early, man. And then but for Nader, I woke up, put up with him, and since that day, we became good mates.
Yeah, man. Talk about someone who's lionheart. He wears his heart on his sleeve, similar to yourself. You know, no wonder you both get along. You know what I mean?
He's that guy was a good fighter, really respected and feared. You know what I mean? But when you meet him, he's the most humble guy you ever meet, man. As you know, and I respect guys like that when you know they're well respected, but they respect everyone else that's in front of them.
100%, man. It's real. You know, a lot of these people, they've got to put on this thug mentality where there's something. They've got to prove to people there's something. Whereas people like yourself and Nader and people who are proven, you've done what others can't do. You know, just a camp alone, let alone the walk, let alone performing under the lights. It's a totally different walk of life. You're walking the walk and others are talking the talk.
Yeah, well, one thing I think is I've always been very humble, and I've always shown respect. My family's brought me up with morals and values, and I always believe that the louder you are, the more insecure you are. And I'm very secure in myself, man. I know I can fight. I know what I bring to the table in every aspect of life. So I don't need to talk it up. All these guys being loud now, sort of talking all this bullshit, man, it just shows me that they're insecure.
Yeah, man. And look, as well, with the WWE and the UFC and the direction that it's gone and the promotion-wise, it unfortunately sells. They market themselves to be something to ensure it sells. And then a lot of the laymen don't understand that. The people that aren't involved in boxing, they don't know how much hard work these people put in. They kind of buy it. Then they say, oh, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to go to the street and do that because he does that.
Yeah, exactly right. You got to be a role model. We all of us fighters and any athletes and people look up to us, and they're role models. So if you're talking shit, you know, swearing all the time, putting fear in people's eyes and that, then you're being a bad role model, man. You got to show respect. You know, it's when the camera's on, you can talk a bit of shit and talk it up and entertain people to make the extra money. That makes sense. But in person, show respect, and also show these people who look up to you that there's a different way to do it as well. It's not all that talking bullshit. You should be respectful, fight well, and do the talking on fight night.
100%, man. And look, recently, Michael Zarafel's under a lot of heat. He is an ex-teammate of yourself. You came out and you said to the people, look, lay off the bloke. He is human. He goes through the same struggles you guys go through. Talk to us about the reasons behind you coming out with that message and informing the people to, calm your farm.
Me and him had a bit of a fallout over them calling me out on a phone call and then denying it. And they called me a liar. And to me, man, my values and I don't lie about nothing. So unless it's a real white lie. And I started giving it to him, sharing some posts, and and it got to him a bit. And I felt bad because at the end of the day, he's a human being, and everyone was giving it to him. Like, no matter what he was saying and how he was showing himself, pulling out of that fight would have really affected him. You know what I mean? So it got to a point. I got a phone call saying, "Mate, you know, like that's enough now," and that, and it kind of clicked to me that I'm the bigger man. I'm going to make a video. As much as he was talking shit about me as well, I come out, I made a video saying, listen, guys, we've had our say. We might not agree with what he done, but let's just leave him alone. You know, he's gone through a lot, and let's just leave it there. So I thought it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, no, as long as you can go to sleep at night knowing, you know, your conscience is clear, I guess that's the most important thing, hey?
Yeah, well, end of the day, me and him, we were teammates under two different trainers together, man. When I turned pro, I was with him and this trainer, Daryl Ford. When I was fighting Sam LeBruna, Zerafa went there. We've been sparring since he was like 17. So I thought it's a big rivalry between us two as well. And I was pumping it up and hoping a fight was going to come out of it. But then it went a bit too far, so I thought I'll pull up a bit.
Yeah, 100%. So like you said earlier, you're just going with the entertainment, trying to sell the fight so people can get interested, because trying to change a narrative, so to say.
Yeah, I wasn't being too disrespectful. I was sharing a few things, having a bit of a laugh. Everyone's laughing it up and that, but we both talk a lot of shit like that when it comes to that. We both entertain. We're both fan favorites and that as well. Well, he's not really a fan favorite right now, but there's people who love him too. So at the end of the day, if me and Zerafa end up fighting down the line, when it makes more sense right now, then it makes money for both of us, and everyone in Australian boxing wants to see it. So I thought I'll keep pumping it up, but then I got a couple of calls saying that's enough. It's not going to happen. That's it. So I made that video just to ease it down a bit.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. So talk to us. You know Zerafa's team as good as anyone, right? What doesn't sit well with you in that story that they couldn't come because, you know, contractually both sides had to come to terms?
At the end of the day, man, forget what happened and that. I flew there. As a spectator. I didn't get paid. I paid my own flights. Glenn Jennings gave me a great ticket on that as well, but I flew my own flights, and I made the risk of quarantine hitting. Yeah, sorry, the COVID hitting and having the quarantine, but they do give you 12 to 24 hours to leave the state anyway, and you get a test and you're all clear. I just, no disrespect to the team and that, but to me, if I have an opportunity to go and fight Tim Tszyu, who's the biggest name in Australian boxing right now, I'm going to go fly there. So I think it's a massive mistake for Zerafa's career for not going there in the first place, because it does, make a bit of damage to his career. But each to their own, man. I would have been there if it was me.
Yeah, look, from what I understood, because I had him on the podcast, he was the one before RC. He basically came out and said that, from what I understood of the story, is that he had no say in it. His team didn't wish to come because of contractually both teams, egos, business when it comes to both sides. They don't want to budge. And Zerafa was in the gym. So he really never actually had a say that he wanted to pull out. Then he stuck by his team. So the only thing that he did was stick loyal. And he said that he lost $300,000 because win, lose, or draw, he was getting paid the same amount of money. So then
let me tell you now, Zerafa will not pull out of a fight. He's not scared of Tim. He's not scared of nobody. At the end of the day, with or without your team, you've got to go. I think there was a bit of ego between the two teams, what cost him that fight. But
100%.
If I'm pocketing $150,000 to $200,000 after I fight, I'm gonna go there, man. So I think put the ego aside. If you can't, but then one of the teammates said they were going to go, one of the teams. So I'd still fly there, man. I don't know about you, but it's a big opportunity, man. If you really truly believe you can beat Tim Tszyu and you're going to go there, you go there and you go there. If you beat him, mate, the world's your oyster.
Yeah, look, it's an interesting one, man. And you know boxing more than everyone. It's a small circle. And I guess, I don't know, bro. It's business. It's relationships that that are on the line, they're at stake. And like you said, man, you live and die by your sword. He made his decision.
I see him as a fighter. I see him as a human being. And to me, I'm just saying it's a big opportunity that he's missed. I hope something comes out of it. He finds another fight and he wins the fight and gets back to that level. But missing out on that fight's done a lot of damage to his career.
Yeah, look, it's unfortunate. It's the second time it's happened to him because Jeff Horn, You know, he exercised the rematch clause and he lost big money going overseas. He lost a couple of million there.
Yeah, they talk about that. I heard that there was never talks to Murata in the first place, but they were confident they were going to beat Jeff on the second time. You know, they had a great offer to fight at a lighter weight, which they should have took, but each to their own, man. I think whatever happened to Rafa that night, it happened, and he lost his fight. He got another opportunity, and he got rid of that one too. So I don't know, man. Where's he go from here?
Yeah, look, you're going to have to watch his space. I couldn't really tell you, to be fair. But, you know, the other side of the fence, were you in Tim's camp for this one?
I was in his camp watching the sparring. I had an eye surgery, so they hit me up to do some sparring on the Gold Coast. But I had my eye surgery, I had a cataract surgery, so I couldn't spar. But they invited me down to their sparring, and I've seen him spar 3 times.
So talk to us about that, because I've heard you also talk about, I know in America, a lot of people are sparring and they're not as picky as they could be here in Australia. How has that relationship formed between you and Tim and the sparring that you've had, and has that taken your game to the next level?
It has definitely taken my game to the next level. I'm just seeing the way he is, what he brings in the ring. Like when you're sparring Tim, when you're fighting Tim, it's like you're fighting in a phone box. He makes the ring so small. How it came about, I think, who was he fighting? I think when he's fighting Horn. They thought I had a very similar style to Jeff Horn. They contacted me, and I had just left Jeff Horn's team, so I gave him a call. So listen, man, like it's all business. I sparred him a few times, and you know, I did well. We worked really well together, and then they just kept calling me back and formed a great relationship with their team. And I sparred for Dennis Hogan as well, and we've sparred many rounds, man. They flew me to Sydney 2-3 times. It's been great.
Talk to us about that team, because that team is a world championship winning team. They've got Costa Zoo. They're following the same formula with Costa. George Kambosos came from that gym. You now got Tim Zoo as the head notch at that gym. What's happening there? Why is there so much success?
I was going to say because there's no egos, but it's not that there's no egos, but Igor doesn't care about the limelight. Igor is Tim's uncle. Igor's a legend. He knows it. He's been around the sport for a long time. Obviously, he's been around Costa as well throughout his boxing too. Glenn has as well. Glenn Jennings, mate, the best manager. He truly cares about Tim. The only reason he's managing boxers is to manage Tim. He only manages Tim. So he's got a great circle around him. All Tim does is rock up to his sessions and he trains. He goes home. What he's told to do, he will do. But yeah, Igor deserves a lot more credit, man. He's a great trainer, but he doesn't care about the limelight. He goes to work, he goes to the gym, he gets the results, he smiles, hugs Tim, then they're back to work the next week.
So smiling and hugging, from what I've heard, Igor shows no emotions. You're telling me he has?
Igor, you know when I first met him, when they first walked in to when I was sparring Tim, they just walk straight past you. Not even a hello. Like maybe just like that, you know what I mean? Even Boris, his grandpa, just and then as you get to know them and you earn their respect, then they start having a laugh with you. They start, you start being good. They might hug you every now and then, but yeah, it's real. The Russian, Tim spoke to me one time talking about the Russian upbringing, where it's you show no emotion, and when you fight him, when you spar him, you see it doesn't matter if he's had a good round, he's had a bad round. It's very hard to kind of tell how he's feeling at the time because he doesn't show emotion. But with his team, man, they're like, I believe I'm like family with their team now, man. Like when I see Igor, we have a good laugh. When I see his grandpa, Boris, I have a good laugh. And me and Tim were messaging literally 10 minutes ago. Before this interview.
Well, so you forged a relationship there and they've welcomed you in, so to say, and you've earned their respect.
We're good friends. They're like him and Glenn Jennings flew up to my fight in Brisbane, my last fight, and that's, to me, that meant a lot because I know how busy Tim is, and so is Glenn as well. So they flew up and yeah, we're that close, man. I really respect them.
How rare is that to form relationships with active fighters like that? Because you fought in Jeff Horn, Michael Zarafa's team. You've been a part, with a lot of big teams. Have they shared that, or is that just unique to Tim's team?
To be honest, man, like their team is my favorite team apart from my own. Like, they're just a respect they've shown me, how professional they are, not just with me, but with their own team. It's just, I'm a big believer in surrounding yourself with people that are similar to yourself and have the same kind of aspirations. And I like to learn off people who have been there and done it. And their team have been there and done it with Kostya. And Tim's going great in the way he's climbing the rankings. So it's great to be around them, man. I'm learning a lot, seeing how professional they are, and I'm trying to add it into my own team and my own preparations too.
Very important, man. So talk to us about Australian boxing. Who's most influenced you and showed you the path and showed you that there is a way to make it in this country and also internationally?
Whew. I've learned off all my past and present trainers, you know what I mean? Like from Bo Gary, my first ever trainer, to Darryl Ford, my first pro trainer, great bloke. But then my life kind of changed a bit when I moved to Sam LeBruna. 6.5 years with him, you know what I mean? Like he taught me a different side to boxing. He taught me, how to box well, and got me some great opportunities. And then from there, I moved to Jeff Horn's team with Glenn Rushton, spent a lot of time with Dundee. I think everyone I've met along the way, I can't point out that one person who's kind of helped me get to that stage. Every single person I've been to and met, from people I've fought to people I've sparred to trainers I've spoken to. I was in Sydney training with Skinny Hussain. I was at Jeff Fennick's house. I speak a lot to Shannon Taylor, Coach Keith from Brotherhood Boxing. All these guys, man, that I've been to, I learn off them all.
Yeah, and that's important because I do see you interact with them a lot. And you're one of the few in Australian boxing that has relationships with all these people. And you're a bubbly character. You put your heart on your sleeve. If someone shows you love, you actually return it. And I can say that from the short time I know you.
Yeah, well, I'm wearing the Brotherhood Boxing top right now. There we go. Shout out to Coach Keefe. I don't know, man. I just believe you can learn off everyone. And this sport, it's a boxer's a different person. We've got a different mentality. Fighters are different than the average person, man. And that's why I respect everyone who's involved in the sport. And I'm a big believer in building Australian boxing by getting everyone together to work together. Where most people, as we spoke about before, they don't want to spar, they don't want to do this, they might fight in their future. Man, the way you get better is by working with everyone. So I'm working with everyone. I'm becoming friends with all, trainers and that. At the end of the day, if they had a fighter I needed to fight, I'd still fight them.
Yeah, it's business at the end of the day. It's what you guys do. You fight in the gym. What's the difference? You're just getting paid for it now.
I'm getting paid. You don't fight someone because you hate them, man. You fight someone because they're in your way and they're going to help you climb to your lifelong goal of fighting for a world title. And that's what I do.
100%, man. Were you ever in the gym when Rob Whittaker was sparring Tim? Did you ever get any rounds with Rob?
I didn't get no rounds with Rob, but me and Rob sparred Tim at the same time, as in he done the first few rounds and I done the last few rounds. You know what I mean? That was a interesting spar. It was great to meet Rob. He's one tough dude, man.
Yeah, he's humble. So one of his coaches, his head coach Alex Pride, that's where I came out from. So his gym, so I was nurtured that way. Talk to us about that interaction. How was Rob in the ring? He brings a bit of an awkwardness, doesn't he?
Rob's got that real fighter's ego mentality where he just goes out to fight, man. Swinging big left hooks at Tim. Man, he would have had about 15 kilograms on Tim easy. And he was letting go of some leather, but Tim's just too composed and he was landing a lot of shots. And I remember after I sparred Tim, I got out of the ring and we had some photos with Rob and I spoke to him. I go, you cop that body shot that many times. I know the feeling of that body shot. I cop it twice. He copped that same body shot 10 times in the spar and did not respond. So I just remember the respect he earned from me pretty much from just seeing that. At the end of the day, man, in MMA, he's taking knees, he's taking elbows, he's taking little 4-ounce gloves. So he's well conditioned, man.
Yeah, bro. He's fought with blown out knees, broken hands. He's gone 5 rounds with monsters. Talk about guy with heart. Jeez, Rob is something special, man.
Different breed, 100%.
And so talk to us about camp now. You're in preparation. You're up against a tough contender in the middleweight division. West Kappa, You're taking no shortcuts here. Talk to us about that, man. It's big name, big fight. Yeah, middleweight.
We're fighting at super welterweight. He's a middleweight.
Oh, he's coming down.
Yeah, me and Jamie Weech were in talks. Jamie Weech just retired, and he had a fight coming up. And if you won, we'll possibly be fighting. So we had a bit of a chat about Wes Kappa's coming down. It's a good fight for myself. So Wes messaged me saying, "Hey mate, I'm coming down to your weight. If you want the fight, let's make it happen." So I spoke to my manager, and we've made it happen. So Wes is at 26 fights, 27 fights. I think 22 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw. Never been stopped. lost twice, one majority decision, 2 split decisions. Like I want to test. I don't want to fight guys that I know I'm going to beat. Like I believe I'm going to beat Wes, but I mean, I don't want to fight guys that everyone's like, oh, Joel's is going to smash him. 100%. I want to fight guys that are like, fuck, what a good fight that is, man. You know, that's what kind of motivates me.
100%, man. So you got that real fighter's mentality. You want nothing given to you. You want to ruin it. You're on the next big card in Australia, if I'm not mistaken, September?
Yeah, that's right, man, 100%.
So talk to us about that preparation. How's that looking? Who's going to headline that card? Is that another Tim card? Are they getting the international guy down here? Well, what's the go? What's the work so far from what you've heard?
Yeah, so we're in talks with, No Limit and stuff. And, well, I'm hearing the same as most people are hearing, you know, with Liam Smith. They're trying to get in for Tim Zoo. We don't know what venue just yet. I haven't even announced that I'm fighting on Tim Zoo's undercard. So I guess people will hear soon. I don't know if we can say it, but now we just did. But it's a big card. No matter what, if you're on Tim's undercard, man, it's always massive. So I'm looking forward to it. But we're going to wait for this COVID situation to kind of clear up before we can confirm a venue and confirm a date.
100%, man. And look, Australian boxing is honestly providing the goods. And for me, this platform is trying to provide fighters and the people to see another perspective. Not here to break news or break news. I'm here to get to the bottom of who you are, what you're about, the struggles and the trials that you get through to get to the ring, and let people connect with you. Because for me, the UFC have done so well, and where boxing has fallen short, they failed to tell the story about the fighter, a bit about himself and the journey.
I was just speaking to my roommate. He was watching the UFC. He watches the podcast and all that stuff, and I was talking about how, like, some fighters in the UFC, they lose 2-3 fights in a row and they're still big names. We us boxers, we lose one fight and it's like, oh, what's he going to do from here? You lose 2 fights and no one cares about you. So I think that's more because of what you're saying. Like, no one really knows you as a person. They know me because I'm posting bloody 15 times a minute. So that's why I get myself out there, you know what I mean? But boxing's it's a tough sport, man. I've got 6 losses on my record with 20 wins, and me and I think Wade Ryan as well. He's on 9 losses and he's well respected. But man, we've gone through some wars and we've had to prove ourselves time and time again to get that respect. Where other boxers haven't got what we got, haven't got the charisma, haven't got the warrior instinct to be able to keep fighting on and on. They just retire because they had a loss or 2.
Yeah, 100%, man. Oh, look, I feel Floyd Mayweather has a big say in that 50-0 corrupted boxing. Go, you look at someone in the UFC, Nate Diaz. The bloke has a 21-13 record. He's 1-1. He fights and he pulls crowds, and he's 1 win away from a title shot. He's a draw because the people like him. They connect with him. Unfortunately, in my opinion, with Australian boxing and boxers in general, is they've shied away from the media. They all want to get paid, right? But they don't want to do the media work. Go look at Conor. How did Conor become Conor? There wasn't a channel or an outlet that he wasn't out there telling his story, doing his thing, getting the people to know who he was.
Yeah, see, I always look at those quotes and those stuff saying that, you know, I think it's like, you know, keep pushing until you don't have to introduce yourself no more. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing. I always introduce myself as a laugh. You know, hey, guys, Cama KO Camilleri here. Like, that's what I do, but that's just a laugh. You know what I mean? But I want to be a household name. And the thing about me, I know the sport inside out. I know my value, and that's where I get into arguments with certain promoters and managers and whatever else in that, because I know my worth. And the reason I know my worth, I sell, for example, my last fight, man, I sold like 45 grand to a Brisbane fight. I've been here for 2 years. And then you got guys calling you up, hey, mate, you want to fight? You want to fight my headline act, my favorite fighter, my best fighter who signed with me for $5,000? And I just look at them like, man, they should know that I've been around. I've had 27 pro fights. Don't be disrespectful and offer me less money than I got paid for my second pro fight, you know?
100%, man. And look, boxing, whoever knows boxing, it's a small circle, right? And unfortunately, they all want to make the most money. They want to profit off someone and they don't want to build someone. And that's something, look, I don't give too much credit to No Limit, but I do give them that they put the platform and they give the fighters the opportunity to make, you know, something that they wouldn't make on a smaller show.
Yeah, well, not a lot of people have the support of Main Event. You know, Main Event obviously chuck money into the promotion. Then the government and that chuck in money as well, like the community, whatever. but that's because of the work that No Limit put into it. I understand that when you fight in the local shows, you have to sell tickets, man. If your fight's going to cost $20,000, but you're only selling $10,000 of tickets, and your opponent's from overseas or interstate, then what's the point of the promoter putting you on unless you're going to sign with them and they're going to invest in you? So I understand that. But what I'm saying for me, I cover my fight, I cover my opponent, I cover the sanctioning fees. Like, it's disrespectful for them to offer me less money than what I deserve.
100%, man. And look, with the way social media is going and the amount of media you're doing, and, like I said, the last couple of weeks, it's been Tim Tszyu, Michael Zarafa, and yourself. There hasn't been a headline where you're not in the mix. So, again, that also helps boost your profile. And you only have to look at Paul Gallen, man. Paul Gallen's everywhere. He's making the money because he's on every bloody platform.
Yeah, he's a legend. He's an NRL legend, Hall of Fame, you know what I mean? Like, he deserves what he's doing and what he's getting and receiving. But people who talk shit about Gallen, he's bringing attention to our sport. So we thank him for that. He's given us the ability to fight in these big cards and these main event cards and these big stadiums. So credit to Gallen. To these other fighters out there, man, it's not easy. Like, I'm on social media. Man, my screen time is probably like bloody 15 hours a day. I post, as I said, like 15 times a minute. I post at least like 10 times a day, man. And one thing, the most important thing, I can give advice to any fighter, reply. Oh, sorry, man.
No, you're right.
Sorry, my battery went to 20%. I said to every single fighter out there, reply to the comment section, reply to your people, reply to inbox messages. Closer to the fight, you may, clear away a bit, but that's why I've earned the respect of so many people, because I give them my time.
100%, man. At the end of the day, they're going to pay your dues. They're going to give you that time, and that platform is because of your fans and the supporters and the people that want to watch you.
Exactly right, man.
So talk to us. What's your opinion on that? Like, I Paul Gallen, the utmost respect. Not only does he put eyes, he goes out and fights ex-world champions and the best bloody talent we got in the heavyweight division in this country. So he also backs that up. What do you think about the Paul brothers and others that are just YouTubers turning into boxers? And did you find the same respect that Gal and them, or is it a bit different? What's your opinion?
I don't respect Logan Paul, and Jake Paul's like he's getting in there a bit. I don't respect him as much as I respect Gallen, because Gallen's a true fighter. He's a warrior, man. He's like going in there and fighting good fighters, and he jumped there with Justice Huni as well. Where Logan Paul and Jake Paul, I have more respect because they're bringing attention to the sport. And Jake Paul is actually a fighter as well. He's becoming a fighter. A couple more fights time when he fights, I think, Tyron Woodley. If he gets through that fight, wins that fight, then he's gonna earn my respect. But right now, I hold Gallen ahead of Logan Paul and Jake Paul for sure.
100%. But they're both same substance, different method, though.
Exactly right. They're all bringing in, like, when I was a school teacher, man. I haven't taught for like 2.5 years. All my students, hey sir, do you know Jake and Logan Paul? I'm like, KSI. I'm like, no clue. So they all know these people. So these guys are fighting now. They're bringing more eyes to the screen. They got millions and millions of followers, man. So the more people that watch Logan Paul and Jake Paul, the more people watch boxing. So hopefully one day I'll fight anybody on a Jake Paul undercard.
No, why not, man? Another guy's making a lot of noise in the boxing world, George Kambosos, Thriller, Lopez. What's going on there? What's your opinion? And might come to Bankwest, a lot of people are saying.
Hey, Kambosos, I respect him a lot. You know why? Because he doesn't rely on the media. As in the Australian media, he goes out there. He moved to America. He got in his training camps. He trains in Sydney now, I think, with Mick Akaway. But he put himself overseas to build his own kind of his own name, and he's won every fight ahead of him. So I got massive respect for George Kambosos. I think he should be promoted more. I think his name should be out there a bit more. But you know what? He doesn't care. He's getting over $1 million for this fight, and he's fighting for his country in Australia and Greece, and he's loving it. He doesn't care about media. He's doing what he's doing.
Yeah, 100%, man. A lot of people are doing well in the boxing scene. Your next fight, you're in fight camp. Talk to us. How's the training? Are you amping it up, and how are you feeling?
I'm 8 weeks out. I haven't sparred since my fight because of my eye surgery, but I'm getting back to it next week. I'm feeling great, man. I had a week off, and then I just was doing a lot of boxing technique. That's when I was in Sydney with all those dudes, you know, Skinny, Coach Keith, Jeff Fennick and all that. Like, I'm working with Paul Briggs as well and all my trainers too. So I'm feeling great. I had my first pad session today with Dundee Kim. Dundee Kim's pad work's the hardest thing you'll do, like, you know, almost in your life, man. So had our first 6 rounds today on the pads. I'm not feeling great right now. I can't lie to you, but it was good to get it out of the way. And 8 weeks' time, I will be, every fight, I'm in better shape, you know.
So how's the eye post-surgery? You know, it seems like a bit of a serious surgery then.
No, it's just a cataract surgery where they change the lens because my I had blur, a cataract of my eye to blur.
Yeah.
They changed my lens, so when I read from close now, it's real blurry, but from far, I'm like an old person. I can see from far.
Okay.
But I got 2 eyes, thankfully. But now when I'm boxing, it doesn't affect me at all now. It's all better. It's all healed. They told me 4 weeks. It's been a month now, so I'll give it 5 weeks altogether and then get back to sparring just to be safe.
100%, man. So your next ventures, I've seen you haven't stopped posting about the kebabs, mate. How'd you get into the kebabs? You know, you enjoy your kebab and then you wanted to open up a shop, or what's the go there?
I love my kebabs, man. I don't eat much in Brisbane. It's not a massive culture of kebabs up here, but everyone still eats them. I grew up, man, just always ordering kebabs to my house and, you know, all the culture I was around. And my Turkish friend moved to Brisbane and we're sitting down one day and we're like, man, like, I want my own business one day. And we're talking about kebabs and the setup and stuff. And like, I'd love to open a kebab, you know, truck one day, food truck or, you know, van. And he turned to me and goes, man, let's do it. And it was as easy as that. Pretty much we've ordered the food trailer. I looked up Knockout Kebabs, got the name. So yeah, it's all happening, man. It's going to open in October.
Hey, legend, man. You got to get on TikTok though, bro. You got to see all the other people, man. The food truck people, they're killing it on TikTok.
What was it, that guy you posted? Is it your mate, the one who's trying to get food out, man?
Abba, man, that guy's crazy, bro. If he likes food, your truck and everything's in trouble because he's going to start breaking stuff.
I've been watching his stuff, man, and like, I've seen the kebab he was eating, and I took a photo of it to send to my mate. Said that's the bread we want.
Yeah. Nah, he's a legend of a guy, man. If you want, I can hook you up with him and have a yarn with him. Good fella.
100%.
So that push, that's a new initiative that you guys are going for. So October, right? What other ventures, what other things, what other plugs you want to give yourself or shout out there?
Well, besides Knockout Kebabs, our Be Elite app, my friend Shane Pace and I are releasing a training app. It's going to involve like strength conditioning and stuff as well. And I'm going to do the boxing section, from boxing fitness and conditioning to technique and all different kind of drills, you know. So that's another venture I'm doing. But at the end of the day, my end goal is to be a world champion boxer, and my full focus is on, in September, my fight against Wes Kappa.
Mate, 100%, man. We wish you all the best. Keep doing what you're doing, mate. Last message for the fans and people watching.
Just want to say to get behind me, and thanks to all my sponsors and my support and everyone who watches Australian boxing. I can't wait to announce my fight. Stay tuned and make sure you tune in.
Mate, stay tuned, guys. He's making a noise. Joel, pleasure having you on the podcast.